I've seen Thai politics since I was born. When I was born, my father was in politics already. So I've seen politics, the ups, the downs, the pros and the cons, the peaceful time, the chaotic time. I've seen everything.
How would you describe Thai politics in 3 words?
Long soap opera.
Welcome to the interview by TNN World. I am New Polawat Pupipat and joining me today is คุณท็อป Varawut Silpa-Archa, leader of Chartthaipattana Party. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
How excited are you about the upcoming election?
An election time is always challenging and exciting. I don't know how my dad did for 14 or 15 elections. It's very exciting. It's very heart stopping. It can be very overwhelming as well. But at the moment, my adrenaline is off the roof for another 40 days.
I see.
Hope I don't get a heart attack before that.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Fingers crossed.
Right. And for me, I'm very excited to be here and to get to know you more as well through our list of questions here.
Of course.
Are you ready?
Far away.
Very first question. How would you describe Thai politics in 3 words?
Long soap opera.
Why is that?
I've seen Thai politics since I was born. When I was born, my father was in politics already. So I've seen politics, the ups, the downs, the pros and the cons, the peaceful time, the chaotic time. I've seen everything. No, well, not everything. I've seen a lot of stuff.
Right.
Sometimes, just like in soap opera, at certain period of time, the good guy becomes the bad guy, and vice versa. The bad guy becomes the good guy. At certain point in time, this person in Thai politics seems like God, and then only a few days later or a few years later, the public opinion towards the person is completely 180 degrees turned. And it happens the other way around.
And are you a bad guy or a good guy?
At this point in time, I'm actually not quite sure. I think 14th of May, I don't know if I'm the good guy or the bad guy. Depends on how much votes I get.
Okay, so let's get to know more about you.
Of course.
How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Listen and do it. Basically, I listen. In order to do something, you need to listen. You can't just go out and just burst out and do something. You have to listen to the problem. As a politician, as a minister, you need to know what problems exist, why it exists, how it came into light. And in order to solve it, you need to listen to people's requirements, the restrictions, and how they want the problem to be solved, because the way they want it might not be the way you want it, might not be the way the thing that should be is not the thing that could be. But just do it, basically.
Right. Listen and do it.
Yes.
Okay. As you mentioned that Thai politics is like a long soap opera.
Yes.
And you are a part of it.
Yes.
So the next question is, what is the biggest lesson you learned from being a Thai politician?
One need to be very patient, extremely patient. I learned that from my father. And number 2, one needs to persevere. In order to get something done in Thailand or anything in life really, nothing in life comes easy.
Right.
It's not just a flick of a switch and then get it done. You need to persevere through it. You need to hack with it. You just bite the bullet and just get on with it. And you need to be very patient. Sometimes they said, there's a saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. The road from Bangkok to Suphanburi was built, it took about over a decade to build.
Right.
And you need to be very patient and persevere through the hardship. That's Thai politics.
Wonderful metaphor. I can see it clearly. Out of 10, how would you rate your performance as the Minister of Natural Resources and Environment?
I give myself 5 out of 10.
5? Only 5?
Because there's a lot of things that I've done.
Right.
From 1 to 5. However, there's still a lot more things that, I'd like to do. That's from 6 to 10. A lot of things that I've done, I hope is for the betterment of our country, for the betterment of the Thai people, how I looked after the natural resources. Of course, there are some mistakes, but those mistakes were swiftly corrected. And I think that everything that we've done so far was to make sure that Thailand stands on the world stage.
Right.
Chins up, stand tall. There's another 6 to 10 that we need to work on.
The next question is more about agriculture. As we
Okay.
all know that agriculture is a very important sector in the Thai economy.
Of course.
And we all know again that Thai farmers, like many of them, are still very poor.
Yes.
What's your policy? What's your plan to support them and empower the Thai farmers?
Number one, I do not believe in freebies. There's no such thing as free lunch.
Right.
I've got three mottos in me. I've got nothing good comes cheap, nothing cheap comes good, and there's no such thing as free lunch. So I don't believe in just giving out freebies. If you want something, we have to get some. If you want the government to spend money, the government needs to have something in return. This is why one of our policy is the carbon credit. Maybe it seems like such a long way away from farmers, but as of now, our party is trying to revolutionize, we're trying to change the face of Thai agricultural industries. For example, the way we grow rice paddies. We are using the technique called alternate wet and dry, AWD. When we drain the water out of the rice paddy and make sure that the greenhouse gases such as methane is not produced or reduced by almost 70%, while at the same time increase the yield per rai of the rice paddy. Now by doing so, we reduce the amount of methane gas that happens. We get the carbon credit, which is translated into about 500 or 600 baht per year, per rai, per farmer. The thing I'm talking about now is not a scientific, far future, far-fetched idea. It's actually happening right here, right now. One of the test plots is in Suphanburi. There are
Right.
6 provinces altogether. So it's actually happening. Our farmer is actually selling carbon credit and get the money into their wallet. Now this is the way to move forward sustainably, a sustainable agriculture, and we need to shift.
Next, it's more about education, right? What should be our starting point of education reform in Thailand?
Well, in my opinion, we should start right at the teachers. Today, 50% of teachers' job is doing paperwork.
Right.
To get promoted, to go somewhere, as a key success factor, as how to measure the success of a teacher.
But not to teach.
Not to teach. I think the success of a teacher is how well your students perform. How successful are your students in looking at the education, at going somewhere in life, not just some piles of paper that God knows at the end of the day is being stashed up on the shelf somewhere. So I think in order to reform our system, we need to give the ability to teach back to our teachers. Let them want to teach.
And the next question is for our TNN World fans. What role do you think Thailand can play in easing tensions between the US and China?
We're a small country, teeny weeny one compared to China and the US. Before asking a question of how we could ease tension between the two superpowers, the question is how we will place ourselves so that Thai people, all 66 million of us, would benefit from both sides. I mean, the US is one of Thailand's biggest partners, while at the same time, Thailand has a long tie with China. So I think it's how they fight is one thing, but how we place ourselves to make sure that we are not in the crosshair. We are not in the middle of that conflict. And by having ourselves as a center of trades, of discussion, you never know, one day President Xi Jinping and Uncle Biden, Uncle Joe might come to Thailand for a handshake in United Nations here. You never know. But don't put ourselves to be part of the conflict. And the most important thing is, I believe that a good leader would do anything to protect his people, to protect his country, to make sure that the well-being of the people in the country not affected. If we get to side with one, that means we are declaring war with the other one. We cannot put ourselves in that crosshair, so take ourselves out of the equation and make sure that, we get benefit from both for the Thai people. I think for me, the most important part about this whole scenario is all 66 million of us, no one else.
And another important question is, for the next government, if possible, which ministry will you choose to work for?
This is a good question because I must say I've been very lucky to have a portfolio of the Ministry of Natural Resource and Environment, because I believe this is the key. This is the fundamental thought that should be engraved in the back of everyone's mind. So wherever I go next, come 14th of May, I've got no idea how things will turn out. Of course, we are setting aim for no less than 25 seats, but comes a reality, no one can predict who gets what. Even the most accurate poll cannot predict the exact outcome. So I will do my best, but wherever I end up, I'll make sure that the concept of sustainability, the concept of making sure that Thailand is preserved until the next generations.
So what makes Chartthaipattana Party different from the others?
2 things. One, I think our policy, I think we are the only party with a policy that would like to see Thailand, well, until the next century. We're talking about sustainability. We're talking about carbon credit. We are not talking about freebies. We do not believe in just giving out, handing out things to people. We believe in everyone working together and make sure that this country, well, maintain what we have, manage to keep everything we have for our next generations. And two, we are a party where we think with Gen Z, act by Gen Y, and then help and advised by Gen X, and with the experience of Gen Baby Boomer. So we are a party of a very diverse generations combined. We do not believe in new generations and the old generations. We believe that Thailand needs to move forward together with all generations. We don't leave anyone behind.
And last but not least, how do you see Thailand in the next 4 years?
14th of May, people will go and vote. People will decide who will be the next prime minister, which party you want, how Thailand wants to move forward. I think don't look just in the border of Thailand. At this point in time, we can no longer afford to look just at Thailand. We're talking about TNN World here. We need to look at the world. I think the question is, what kind of a prime minister you would want to choose that the world is waiting for? The world is waiting for a new prime minister of Thailand. Thailand will have to be able to connect with the world, to be the bridge of everything. We have to be the world destination. Tourism, medical hub, soft power we talk about. Thailand needs to be the center of that. So that's where Thailand should be 4 years from now.
And this is his interview คุณท็อป วราวุฒิ ศิลปะอาชา Thank you so much for joining us ครับ สวัสดีครับ